Running a half marathon is an amazing achievement for any runner. And what's even better, well, running a half marathon faster than you have ever done before. Well, stay tuned because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to do to get you that PB. We'll go through everything, what time you should be aiming for, all the sessions that helped me run a 67-minute half marathon, and how to pace the race itself, and what I'd also recommend for fueling and hydration along the way. But first, let's get stuck into the training. So how long should you give yourself to train? Well, it's one of the big reasons why I personally love the half marathon distance. It doesn't quite take over your life the way that marathon training does. Ideally, you want to allow yourself 12 weeks of training. That's how long all of our training plans are, and you can check those out on the website. All our beginner plans for the half marathon are completely free to download. We'll link to all of those down below. I'll also put some good fun and fast half marathon races up on the screen now that I've done before, and always let us know down in the comments some great half marathon races that you've run to help out the running community so people know where those fast courses are. So what's a realistic time to be aiming for? Well, this obviously varies wildly from person to person and your running experience as well. For newer runners out there, you're likely going to be able to achieve some really big improvements in those early stages. 5, 10, even 20-minute PBs are possible. But for more experienced runners, people that are running a little bit longer, those progressions do obviously cut a little bit shorter as you get a little bit closer to your limit. So it might be a minute or even just a few seconds, but they all count. We all want to get that little bit faster. If you've never run a half marathon before, then how do we know what we're capable of? Well, this is a rough guide. If you want to run sub 2 hours, you're going to want to be around about sub 60 for your 10k, a sub 145 half, sub 50 for a 10k, a sub 130 half, sub 43 for a 10k. Once you hit those 10k times, you're ready to begin that training journey to hit those half marathon goals. And what would our weekly mileage look like for similar goals? Well, someone that's trying to break 2 hours, we're looking around 3 to 4 runs a week, up to around 32 miles or 50k of training per week. Sub 145, 4 to 5 runs a week now, up to around about 40 miles or 64k of training per week. And sub 130, 5 to 6 runs per week, up to around about 54 miles of training, 87k per week. Now I should say with those distance figures, they're all up to. The figures I've given there are going to be in the peak week of training, with around about 2 weeks to go for the half marathon. We're going to build up, have some recovery weeks, build up, have recovery, build up, and those peak weeks are going to be around about those sort of distances. See how that feels with you, and all of that will give you a bit of an idea of what you are going to be capable of in a half marathon. One of the biggest keys to get faster over the half marathon distance, and let's face it, all running distances, are doing speed sessions during the week. In order to run that fastest half, we need to get the body used to training faster than the goal pace, and we do this with speed workouts and interval sessions. More experienced runners will probably want to be setting aside 2 runs a week for doing these speed sessions. We'll touch on that a little bit later on. Now, I've got some really good example sessions that you can try here. The first one is a progression run, something like 10k in total distance, 3k easy, 3k at your half marathon pace, 2k at your 10k pace, and then 2k cool down afterwards. Really good to get the legs strong for when we're pushing at the end of a half marathon. Or how about a mixed paces run? After around about 10 to 15 minutes of warming up, 4x1k at your 10k pace, your current 10k pace, going straight into 4x400 meters at your 5k pace. Taking 2 minutes, little recovery, walking between each of those reps, and then a 5 to 10 minute cool down. And then thirdly, one of my favorite sessions is goal pace reps. This is 3x8 minutes at your half marathon goal pace with a 2-minute walking recovery between each one. With all of these sessions, make sure you do a good warm up and warm down afterwards, ideally trying to get a few little drills in there, some proper dynamic stretching before you get into those really fast sections. Now, if you're a little bit unsure with these type of sessions, maybe get in touch with your local running club. Quite often they will be putting on these type of sessions at least once a week. And also, you don't have to be running these at a track at all. Just find somewhere flat, fast, and traffic free, and that will be perfect conditions to get your runs done. Now, as I touched on at the start of this section, if you are a fairly experienced runner, you may want to add a second speed session during your week. Traditionally, the Tuesday-ish session will be when you're running reps at a lot faster than your goal pace. So something like 400s, 800s, something like that. Then the second session of the week is going to be around about that goal pace. So something like a tempo run or a progression one where you're building into that goal pace. It will just help push that fitness up even more. Another big part of your training that you want to be getting into your week is running strides. Now these are bursts of around about 20 seconds of fast running, around about 90% effort. So not quite all out running for the bus territory, but just a little bit slower than that. And I really recommend putting these at the end of one of your easy runs during the week. Now, if you're new to strides, do something like 3 to 4 reps of this. More experienced runners up to around about 6 reps. Just with a super relaxed, easy jog or just walking between each reps. Take about 20 to 30 seconds just to get your heart rate back down. And why we want to be doing things like this is helping recruit some of those fast twitch muscle fibers to help put in that strong sprint at the end of the race. It also helps really improve our running economy and our running form as well. It's quite hard to run with poor running form when we're running that fast. So moving on, long runs and easy runs. The rest of your week should ideally include a good solid long run and also some easy mileage in there as well. Now a lot of people come to me and say, well, why can't I just do speed sessions and run super fast every day? Well, these sessions put a lot of stress on our body, and that's why easy running comes in. If we did speed sessions every day, we would just overload ourselves and pick up some injuries. So that's why we do easy runs to recover from those sessions, and it still helps build that cardiovascular fitness, running nice and easy to help build up that volume safely and build that endurance in the heart, the body and the lungs that we're going to need over the half marathon distance. So how long should our long runs be? Well, for a sub 2 hour training, we're talking around about anywhere between 6 and 13 miles for the long run. This will again progress as the training goes on. So early weeks about 6 miles, later on around about 13 miles. Sub 145, we're talking around about between 8 and 14 miles. Sub 130, we're talking anywhere from 10 to 16 miles as the plan progresses. Then for the more advanced runners, you're going to want to add some goal pace blocks into these long runs as well. We want to be putting some blocks in here every other week. All of our training plans are set out exactly like this, so of course check out benparks.com. If you're a little bit unsure, you just want to download a guide and follow it along. Thousands of 5-star reviews, go and check them out. We're really proud of these plans we produce. So we want to be adding some segments at that goal pace during our long run, about 2 to 3k at our goal pace, then back to easy, then back to goal pace, then back to easy. Again, we're just getting our body used to working hard towards the end of those long runs. Really, really important. I'd also recommend, if you can, do some of your long runs at the same time of day as your goal race starts. So if it's 8 in the morning, 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning, have a look when your goal race is and do some of your long runs at the same time. This gets the body used to working at this time of day, and you can also practice your pre-race routine with your breakfast. For me, as longer term viewers of the channel know, that's going to be a couple of bagels, some peanut butter and jam or jelly for our American friends over the other side of the pond. And I'm going to have this around about 2 hours to 90 minutes before the run, so my body is nicely fueled, ready to go. Then when I'm out on the run, I'm going to be practicing my fueling strategy as well with my gels, taking some liquid out there to stay nice and hydrated. These long runs are a fantastic opportunity, the real dress rehearsal for the big day. If we turn up on the big day, there's going to be no big surprises. In a similar vein, we want to be practicing our shoe choices as well on our long runs. What's going to be the most comfortable shoe for the duration of the race that we're going for? Are those super lightweight carbon racing shoes going to be the best option? Will they potentially lead to some blisters and things like that? For me, comfort always wins in these things. If you want to get some really good comfortable shoe choice ideas, check out this video up here and we'll link to it down below. Another crucial part of any half marathon training plan is getting our strength work in at least once a week. It's especially important for training at these longer distances where we really need that strength at the back end of a race. If you're someone that might have blown up in a race, this could be the key to get you that nice solid finish and run strong towards the end. As a minimum, I'd add some strength training at the end of one of your easy runs during the week. We've got a strength training add-on that you can add to the half marathon training plans on the website. Give you 3 different routines that you can do at home without any equipment at all. They all include those basic exercises, things like squats, lunges, bridges and planks as well. We'll put some other ideas up on the screen now, and really try to keep those rest days as fully rest days, because that's when our body is recovering and making those adaptations to become that faster, stronger runner that we want. So keep your rest days as relaxed as you possibly can, but add some strength work after an easy run or a little bit later on in the day. Now you've done all your training, race day is here, and you don't want to go out and blow it all within the first 2K, as unfortunately I've seen so many people doing, but not people that subscribe to the Ben Parks YouTube channel. So whack that subscribe button down below and follow along for lots of great training tips. For me, there's two different ways that you can pace a half marathon. Either start a little bit slower than your goal pace and then speed up as the run goes on. Now this does require a lot of patience and control to go out nice and relaxed and just roll into it. As some of our older runners, and I'm getting nearly at that sort of stage of my career now, really sort of favour this option because it does take a little bit longer to get warmed up than it did when you were younger. So a really good one for some of our older runners out there. Alternatively, and what I usually try and do here, is set off simply at my goal pace and stick to it with nice even splits throughout the race. And then for that last K, give it a good kick down at the end. Now getting this even pacing is quite easy-ish to do if the course is nice and flat and level and there's no hills in it. So do some research on the course that you're doing. How many sharp turns are there? How many hills are there? Things like that. Are there some nasty little hills towards the end of the race that you might need to hold some energy back before? It's another crucial way of running that fast half is to do that course preparation. Ask some friends about it. Maybe potentially go and cycle the course before. If it's a local one, could you go and run it over a couple of your long runs and just see what it's like? Get a feel for what that course is going to be like. For me, when I'm doing my race, I simply use lap pace on my watch. Then my watch ticks over with every kilometer, and I'm just looking at that lap pace for just that particular kilometer that I'm running in at that moment. So if I'm trying to run, say, 1:15 half marathon, I'm just trying to make sure that's set nicely at 3:30 a K pace as I go on, just a little bit under that sort of goal pace, because some races and GPS watches are never that accurate. So always try and run just a little bit ahead of my goal pace for what my watch is saying. Potentially a lot of races there will be paces as well, so you can get stuck in to a pacing group. If you're not sure, reach out to the race and see if they've got a pacing group. This takes away a lot of that extra mental work that you're having to go through to keep nicely on pace. Now let's have a chat about fuel and hydration during the race. Now for me, I always recommend taking a gel around about every 35 to 40 minutes during pretty much any running I'm doing, really. And every half marathon I've done, I've normally taken 2 to 3 gels with me, and I take one on the start line and I've got 2 for the race. And obviously it depends how long you're going to be running for with how many gels you need. For some people it'll be 3, some people it might be 4 gels over the course of the race. Now in terms of hydration, it's highly likely they're going to have some stuff out on the course that you can get as you go round, but of course check how many water stations or maybe energy drink stations they're going to have out there. Don't try anything new on race day. It's the old adage. So if you haven't had the energy drink they're giving out, if you haven't had the energy gels they're giving out, it's probably not a good time to test what they're going to be like. Have a look what gels they're giving out. If you want to use them, get some ordered in and test them in your training, and then you can use them on the race day absolutely fine. I always say to simply drink to thirst. If I'm thirsty, I get some water down as I go round. For me, I just like to have a little and often. For a lot of races that I do, it's only one every other water station. I'm just going to go and get some down. If it's hot, one over the head, something like that, just to keep myself nice and cool. Don't feel you need to like chug a load of bottles. And again, like a lot of things, do what you would normally do in your training. Perfect that routine. If it is a little bit hotter out there, potentially get some electrolytes in before you go around as well. Running a half marathon flat out is really difficult, but believe me, it feels amazing when you can jump and cross the line with that big smile on the face, knowing you've given it your all and you've achieved your climb. If you need some more training on the half marathon distance, then check out the plans on benparks.com. If you're interested in running a 1:30 half, then check out this video up here next. If you want to see my pre-race routine, then check out this video down here. Keep on working hard, guys. Keep on it done. We'll see you very soon in the next one.